Good afternoon and welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. You're spoilt this weekend. We're going for two shows. You've already had Lee Clark and Danny Posthill who've been on this morning. If you haven't watched that already, please try and get onto the channel and watch that. There's some absolutely great content on there with the guys. As always, we try to do something a little bit different each day. So today we've got the worldwide fans on. But first, here's our little intro. And a lot of people asking what the music is. It's the Long Sands. If you get onto iTunes, you will be able to find that. The Long Sands are a Northeast band, they're making a comeback, actually. So anyone interested in looking them up, have a look on iTunes. They've got some great tracks out. Good Geordie band. So without further ado, let's get round to making a few introductions. Couple of well-known faces, and we've got three new faces on the show as well. First of all, Al Walid, you're looking a little bit different, mate.
Yeah, because we changed the time. I didn't have time to go and wear my usual outfit.
Good stuff. Well, welcome to you, mate. Obviously out there in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Good to have you on again. We've got Chris. Good afternoon, Chris. How are you, mate?
Afternoon, Steve. How are you?
Yes, good. Good to have you back on. You're not a NUFC Matters first-time caller. You've been on a couple of times before, so it's good to have you on, mate. And I know you're keen to get a couple of things out there with regards to the Saudi Qatari stuff. You usually chip in with some very interesting stuff about the region, which is always interesting here. So we will come to that through the show. Next up, we've got Daz Shocks, who a lot of you will know, I'm sure, of Twitter. Hi, Daz. How are you?
Hey guys, hi everyone.
Good to see you, Daz. Now, where are you based, mate?
I'm in Galway, in Ireland, the Republic of Ireland.
Fantastic. Well, you're our first Irishman who's been on the show, which is great to have you on. Tell us a little bit about your Newcastle United support, and how did you come around to supporting the club? And do you get to any games? Have you been to any games?
I have indeed, Steve. Yeah. So let me take it back. When I was 11, 12. I was reading Match Shoot magazine, and I read this article about Kevin Keegan. And Kevin Keegan coming back to Newcastle. The last time he was seen was getting on a helicopter in his full kit, heading off into the sunset. And he arrives back in Newcastle, and he has a mammoth task ahead of him of trying to keep Newcastle from falling into what was then the third division. So. But that sparked my interest. I kept an eye on Newcastle that season. Was Keegan going to be able to keep them up? And from then on, I was a Newcastle fan. So I bit the bug, and that was it. I was Newcastle forevermore. Yeah, I have been over to a few games. I'm back. I actually have the programs with me as well. Came prepared. So my first game was back in 2001. It was Chelsea home game, obviously, against Chelsea. Unfortunately, we lost 2-1, but I got to see Shearer goal, and there's not many people that can say that these days, especially being in outside of the UK. So that I've been to that game. I went then after that. I went to 2005. I saw Newcastle versus Birmingham, and Emery scored on that occasion. We won 1-0. Then I got a double header in. I got two games in the one trip, which was a bonus for me. I got to see Newcastle. This is when Glenn Roeder was in charge. Newcastle versus Celta Vigo and Newcastle Portsmouth, and we actually won both games. So I became a lucky charm. But after that, I didn't get the opportunity to go. So then just actually have a funny story for you to start off as well. Well, slightly funny. Back when I was say about 16 or so, my local team, Galway United, they were playing a team that had just been promoted from the championship, I suppose at the time. It was called Sunderland. So yes, I didn't know that much about Sunderland and the major rivalry with Newcastle, but I attended a hot day in Galway for a change, and I attend in my Newcastle jersey. Had been, with it being a hot day, no jumper, no jacket, head along to the match. Before the start of the match, two Mackhams come up to me and they said, "Hey mate, can I take your picture?" And I said, "Okay." Reluctantly said, "Okay." And this was before mobile phones, and they took my picture and they said, "That's going on my dartboard at home." So that was my introduction to Sunderland fans. And then during the match, Michael Gray, the left back for Sunderland, he was coming over to take a throw, and he was staring me out of it in the middle of the game. So he goes, "What?" He's thinking, "Why is there a guy in a Newcastle jersey here?" And then at the end of the game, was walking into town again, and this Newcastle fan stuck his head out the window of a car and says, "I'm a Newcastle fan as well. Run, mate. The Sunderland guys are behind you." So that was my introduction to the rivalry with Newcastle and Sunderland. But so that's my short story of being a Newcastle fan.
Daz, that was probably the best one I've heard so far, mate. You really thought that out, and I love the fact you had the props, you had the programs, you had the shirts behind you. You've put everybody else to shame, including me, mate. That's fantastic. Dave G, listen, mate, thanks for joining us, mate. Great to see you. Tell us a little bit about where you are today and your Newcastle United supporting history.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm in Sydney, Australia. I've been here for 8 years. Obviously, I've still got the accent a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm from Wrighton originally, if you've heard of Wrighton, which is near Blayton in Newcastle. It's my Newcastle story. So, interesting one. My first game was the 1-0 defeat against Grimsby in the promotion season. So when Newcastle went on I think we won like the first 11 games in the championship. This was when Kevin Keegan took us up after the and the season before where we nearly got relegated to the old Division 2. Is that right?
Division 3, yes. The Keegan years, yeah.
Yeah. So the first game I went to was the game that we got beat. And like Jim Dobbins scored like a 30-yard screamer. So
Grimsby.
Grimsby. So that was the first game I went to, and to be honest, I was in like the Milburn paddock back then, and I just got addicted to it. Amazing atmosphere, and in terms of the football that we played as well, it was fantastic. We had such good individuals and a good team, and obviously Kevin Keegan fronting that. It was such an exciting time. So I remember I think I went to about maybe 3 or 4 games that year and really enjoyed it. And then obviously winning the Premiership. The first game in the Premiership was the Spurs game, and we got beat 1-0 again. So I started thinking maybe I'm a bad omen, because every time I go there at the beginning of the season, we're getting beat. But yeah, it's been amazing. I was lucky enough to be a season ticket holder when Mike Ashley first bought the club. I say lucky because I was like full of optimism. I thought I had this billionaire owner, and I thought this was really going to take us to the next level. How wrong I was. So I had my season ticket that year, and I think I packed my season ticket in when I think Joe Kinnear got appointed. That's probably my Newcastle journey. So in that time, obviously being a Newcastle fan, I've had my ups and downs like everybody else, I'm just really, really hoping that the takeover does happen and that we can all have a bit of hope again, really.
Great stuff, Dave. Yeah, I've got Joe Kinnear. I think I've told the program, the story on the program before. When he was at Notts Forest, Joe Kinnear, he often struggled to find his way to the ground. So we used to ring the groundsman up and ask him to put the floodlights on when he was at Notts Forest so he could drive in. Unbelievable. Some character, Joe Kinnear. Great. Thanks for that, Dave. Martin, great to have you on the show, mate. Tell us a little bit about where you're phoning in from today and about your Newcastle United supporting career.
First, thanks for having me. Much like Daz, I'm on the eastern side of Ireland, about 20 minutes from Dublin. Originally from Washington, moved over here in '99. So football-wise, first game was 85-86 season. Was a home match against Luton Town, and Peter Jackson and Paul Goddard scored. Sarge scored in the second half, I think, to bring us level. So that was the first real experience. I think my uncle took us. I just remember going up the stairs and seeing the greenest grass I'd ever seen on the pitch. So that was really first memories. Lucky enough to have a ticket to be able to see Keegan and the Entertainers. But then kind of working backwards and forwards, I was working between the Northeast and Dublin and then down to London. So it just got harder and harder to get to the games. Got to a couple of away games, few away days down in London when I was working down there, but not the same atmosphere as obviously being at home. As close as I get to it here, get home occasionally. But I do get to go, well, normally lucky enough that Newcastle tend to come to Ireland for their pre-seasons most years. So Carton House is about a 40-minute drive from where I'm based. So I get to go down there pre-season. They normally play Bohemians or Shamrock Rovers or one of the local Dublin teams. So I kind of get out to see them when they're around there. So it's a bit, probably makes it a bit better as well because you're able to get up closer to the players. So like Rafa and the guys the last time they were here, I think was really good. So especially for Daz will probably be the same. It's probably the closest opportunities you get to get to it now. So
that's right, Martin. Yeah, I got to Rafa as well.
Yeah,
those trips.
Yeah, no, it is good when they're down at Carton House. Normally, the grounds guys will let you get fairly close, and if you turn up with a black and white shirt on, they're not sure whether you're a player or not. So you tend to get as close as you want to. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, listen, lads, thanks for joining us. Great to have you all on, and good to have some Irish contingent on because I've got a few pals over there who come over on a regular basis. And it's great to see the Irish contingent. It'll be great to get a few of the legends out there. I think at some point when when we get back to some kind of normality, because it's not too far for us to come, and it'd be nice to be able to maybe get some kind of evening with out in one of those places. And you guys don't. It doesn't sound as if you live too far apart, so maybe that's something we could work on in the future. It'd be good to have an evening with over there, and maybe do it for some kind of charity in Ireland. Al-Walid, okay, there's a few days past, and we hit the magic number. 3 is the magic number as the song, but 100,000 was actually the magic number as far as Newcastle fans were concerned for the signatures on the petition. So. Great response. I saw your video last night on Twitter, which was very nice, and thank you for the mention. It was everybody got behind that petition, which was great. We all did our bit. What was the atmosphere like amongst the Newcastle fans in Saudi Arabia about
that? First of all thanks to you, Steve. You were one of the main reasons that made the fans unite together in this takeover and believe the dream, which we all hope it will gonna happen very soon. Actually, I'm impressed about the Geordie nations. They are a big fighter who stand for their rights and their club for this takeover. I believe PIF really made a great decision by choosing the club for investment. Actually, we just following the news, checking the news every minute. We just hear now just before the show that Mike Ashley prepare his legal team just in case. So, and it's just the news is just one after one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, I've seen Liam Kennedy's article there. Yeah, I think it's just been highlighted by Nicholas. He says, Liam Kennedy's story in the Shields Gazette. Things could get nuclear. Mike Ashley's potential Newcastle United takeover. Mike Ashley has legal teams ready to go at the Premier League should they prevent him from selling. I mean, that is, that isn't unexpected. Chris, come to you, mate. Mike Ashley is, wanting to sell the club. And we have willing buyers. Give us your new take on things since we last spoke.
All right, so what Mike Ashley is preparing here is what legally would be called a restraint of trade. We've got a willing buyer, a willing seller, and it's the regulator in the middle that's preventing the sale. So what I would say is that at this point, without a decision from the Premier League, it could be Mike Ashley could have a case to say, you're preventing the sale here. I think with PIF pulling out, it would be a stronger case if they were to come back in and then get a decision of no from the Premier League, and then they'd be able to have a strong legal case to say that there's no reason to say no here, and to be able to sue. If I had a conjecture on what I think is going on, we haven't heard much from PIF. I think if what's happening with PIF is that clearly they were embarrassed by the Saudis. First, their statement that said, "Oh, if only you had sent complaints about piracy to the wrong email, then we would have sorted it out, and it would have been that easy." And the second thing that was embarrassing to them was this court case come out and say, after 4 years, we've decided to ban BN permanently because of issues from the 2016 Euros. So what I think the PIF is doing behind the scenes here now in these weeks of silence is they're getting their ducks in a row. They're sorting out the BN issue with the Saudis. And if there's anything that would say that Mohammed bin Salman doesn't control everything in the state, you would think if he's trying to buy a football club, he wouldn't have had these announcements to come out to kind of scuttle the deal while it's still on. So I think that the Saudi authorities are sorting it out with BN. I don't know if it's going to actually have BN be restored in the country, but I think you need to look with the Qataris at BN being restored in the country before the Premier League is going to be comfortable with a yes decision from them. But ultimately, if they say no, then there's still a legal recourse for Ashley because he wants to sell the club. The consortium wants to buy the club, so there shouldn't be no reasonable reason to scuttle the deal here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on a WhatsApp group with a lot of the fans' organisations, which was pulled together by the Newcastle United Supporters Trust for the Zoom meeting, which went on Chi and Wura's channel a couple of days ago. And of course, a lot of the questions on there from the fans are, well, what do we do next? We've hit 100,000. What do we do? What we do is we wait to see what the potential buyers and what the current seller wants to do. We now have to wait and see what the direction is that they're going to go in. We've done our bit as a supporters. We've signed a petition. We've kicked up a fuss. We've written to MPs. People saying should we be now targeting the sponsors. I noticed there's quite a bit of targeting of sponsors, Premier League sponsors on Twitter. But I think we just sit and wait this week now. I know we've waited for 18 weeks, but this week, I think we wait and see what the next move is. And if Mike Ashley is going to chuck the lawyers in and, PCP, the Rubens and PIF are going to make their next move, then I think the answer will be there. So I mean, Daz, you've sat in Ireland, as has Martin, which who will come to in a bit. But I mean, what's it been like across there? First of all, I mean, social media, of course, it'll be the same. But what's the media coverage been like in Ireland about the Newcastle United takeover?
Oh no! In Ireland, there's no real coverage of the Newcastle takeover. To tell you the truth, it's all, well, I'm following all that the UK channels really, I suppose, Sky Sports, and following George Culkin and the different podcasts, Black and White Podcast, The Chronicle, and so on and so forth. Just reading and following Twitter, seeing what's really happening. But yeah, no, for me, I've just been following for the last 3 years since Amanda came on the scene, and seeing this takeover, and we've seen previous ones come and go, but if this one looked like it was going to be our hope, our chance for some kind of success in the future. But regards Steve, media coverage here, I suppose it's really all been about COVID. It's the main topic here, and then I suppose our own national games not getting the chance, the opportunity to play out either. But yeah, so I guess, Martin, you're the same. We follow the English news really to see what's happening. And then I suppose if you were to ask me the question, yeah, about the feelings about it falling through, like it was a complete high and a buzz, and talking to friends, all my Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United supporter friends at work and stuff. You had something to look forward to. You had a dream that may eventually come true of Newcastle finding some success. But then the downward when the news broke, it was just devastating. But we're not going to give up. We're going to keep fighting as we have done and sign the petition, to Twitter, getting onto Premier League and the sponsors, and doing whatever we can to try and bring Piff back. I think we, Amanda and the Rubens are with us. Maybe Piff are in the background, but I'd like to see is for them to maybe make a statement on say Monday or Tuesday this week to say they haven't gone away, that they're still interested in this, and they're still fighting, and then it would ramp up the pressure on the Premier League to come with some kind of an answer. And we've got Boris on our side now as well, apparently.
Yeah, Martin, same question to you, really, just about the coverage out there. We've heard from Daz that there's been very little, but I mean, what's the atmosphere like amongst the other Newcastle fans that you know across there?
Coverage, as Daz says, nothing, Steve. Really, I'm kind of following it on Twitter. Pretty much the same as everybody else. I think listening to yourself, the Geordie Dentist. And Steve, and then obviously just following a load of people on Twitter. Shock when it fell through. I thought this was really, I thought we were, as close as we've ever been, as you've said before. And I think there's probably nobody now in Ireland wants this takeover probably more now than my wife does. She's absolutely sick of me watching this, reading papers, trying to find out, refreshing Twitter. And I think she's asking me more now, is it done or is it not done? So I think she'll be glad. But friends back home, there's a good gang of us that kind of, we have a Zoom kind of chat on a Friday. To be fair, 75% of them are all Mackhams, so I've had a fair bit of stick over the last couple of weeks when it fell through. Where does it stand currently? I think there's definitely things going on. I was surprised that the Saudis coming out and banning BN. I thought that was a strange move. I thought the timing was really weird, just when we seemed to be getting to the back of the piracy issues. And I think the Premier League themselves have backed themselves into such a tight corner by not doing anything. I think the silence makes you certainly feel that they know that this is a problem now, a bigger problem than it would have been if they just said no. I think if we'd got a no outright, I think we probably as a fan group would still have reacted the way we have. I think there'd still be people trying to do stuff to push it through and get people, but at least then you have something, what you're working on. Whereas if the Premier League were just a bit transparent, came out and said, here are the issues, then at least you know that the consortium can either fix that or they can't. So for me, I think there's definitely things in the background. Will it go through? It's 50-50 for me at the minute. I'm not 100% sure.
Great stuff, lads. Base Square, I'll come to you, Chris. He just says, I don't agree with Chris. I can't see Saudi allowing BN. We might not agree, but these are Saudi laws. Premier League cannot dictate to Saudi what is illegal and what is not. I'll come to Al Walid after you, Chris. So, Chris, just in response to that.
Okay, so first of all, the Saudi court decision was not anything to do with the Premier League. That was to do with the rights to the 2016 Euros, which is an old issue. So if we're dealing with the ability for the Saudis to legally show the Premier League in country, which they can't do now, I think you can't take the Saudi statement, the Saudi court statement, as sort of the ending of the case and that there's no hope for BN. First of all, that was a Saudi court. That was not the Saudi government, essentially a different part of the government, the court system, not the executive making the decision. Of course, if the king or the crown prince wanted BN to come back on in the country, they would have the authority to say, let it come back on. So what I think is, first of all, this idea that the Saudis can do a separate deal with the Premier League and have their own channel for next year is the Premier League has already squash that. And secondly, this idea that Richard Masters hasn't said anything. I think what he said in the parliamentary committee hearing, where he was asked, and his response was, "What we want is for the rights holders to be able to exercise their rights," which means he's saying BN needs to be back on in the country. The Qataris have paid for the rights to the whole Middle East. Whether we agree that's a good move or not, it's sort of the red line in the sand is put BN back on, and then we'll be able to sort out this issue of who controls the Newcastle bid. Is it really Yasser al-Rumayyan and the PIF, or is it really the Saudi state through the Crown Prince? And then I don't necessarily think that we can agree with everything that Amanda said. We don't have proof of that. But if we believe half of what she said, number one, that they asked for the Saudi state to be a director, we need clarification from Masters about that. And then number two, what she said is they told us we're not going to deny you, but we want to prove you. So if anything, Masters needs to clear that up. But the idea that he hasn't spoken, hasn't said anything, he has said we want the rights holders to retain their rights. And so the BN is still the key to it. And they can't just sweep that under the rug and say Premier League mega decision, because as it stands now, it won't be a positive decision without BN being restored.
Al-Walid, have you got an interest in that, a take on that?
Actually, we are been in the dark since long time. And with the news coming every day, I was close to every news. I try to analyze it, to read more about what is the reason of. I try to connect the dots together in this matter. As I understand from Amanda Stively, and I believe she's the one. She's the one negotiator with the Premier League. As I understand from her, there is a point, or there is a demand, are almost impossible to happen in this takeover. Some condition by Premier League. So I think the important question is, are these conditions of the Premier League is liable or not? Because I believe Premier League want to sort this out. The question is it liable? If not liable, I think that's why they are now preparing for league. And we just now carrying the wave. Now is everyone can notice that there will be a court. It seems like that because what Amanda Stively is saying, that there is a point, disagreement in one point. We didn't know that is it right from Premier League to make this condition? Is it in the protocol in this particular takeover or not? Premier League actually pushing this away, and they're trying to push this takeover away for hidden reason. So we heard also 2 days ago about Richard Keys. He was trying to deleting some stuff on Twitter. So everything leading to some legal action. We just heard about Mike Ashley preparing his lawyer. I believe this is show us the condition Premier League they are putting now. It's not liable. All evidence for me shows me that.
Yeah, good stuff. Dave, let's change topics because the takeover does get to the point where we tend to get our heads battered, and we all just get a little bit sick of it. I think we get a bit lethargic of it. Yeah, let's look at the transfer window. It's open. Obviously, are you concerned the fact that the takeover hasn't gone through, and we appear to be in limbo, really?
Yeah, so the thing is, I mean, I think, obviously the Premier League have sat on this for 17, 18 weeks, and it's totally crippled our plans. I know that people keep on saying, it's business as usual, but I mean, I think I read something yesterday saying our transfer budget's been halved to 30 million, which He doesn't even buy you Joe Linton. But yeah, so I'm massively worried, to be honest. I mean, in terms of like last season as well, I mean, like watching Steve Bruce's side, it wasn't pretty. You know, I think we managed it, but I think we only managed staying up because the Premier League was a poor league this year, I thought. I think there's like so many teams in the Premier League that weren't as good. You know, you think like Spurs dropped off, Arsenal dropped off, you know, this year. Chelsea were very hit and miss. And I kind of look at Newcastle and think, okay, well, the teams around us are going to be spending a lot more money than what we've got and what we'll be spending. I think Aston Villa have got a decent amount of money. I just don't think 30 million is going to cut it. I think the best we can hope for this summer is loan signing, maybe a few bargain basements from the Championship, to be honest. I think I saw a player linked the other day, an ex-Burnley player, Hendricks. Not really filling me with excitement, I have to admit. So I think it'll be more of the same. But I do think we got very lucky staying up this year, to be honest. I think, in terms of the football, yes, it was negative. We had some shocking results. You know, we don't have much possession of the football. I know things improved a little bit towards the end of the year. But I still think we are painting over the cracks. It's going to take a hell of a lot more than 30 million to rebuild Newcastle and get us to a mid-table team. And I think in the previous podcast that you made, you were talking about buying another striker because Joe Linton is not going to get you the goals next year. I'm not being funny, but if we've only got 30 million, what type of striker are we going to end up with? You know?
Yeah, I mean, we're stuck with Joe Linton and Andy Carroll at the minute, and it's that's quite desperate, especially with the amount of goals they scored last year. Daz, yeah, I mean, you know, what can we hope for, do you think, in this transfer window? Loans only, I would presume.
Yeah, I definitely rule out Jeff Hendricks straight away, and no interest.
More chance of getting Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. There's a few players from Burnley. Not Burnley. Bournemouth up for grabs, perhaps. It's going to be tough to get Callum Wilson. He would do it once he could stay injury free. He'd get some goals. I think I go for Jethro Williams. I'd bring him back. I think he did well for the 17 to 19 games he played for us. It's unfortunate he got injured. I think definitely we'll sign him as long as he's got over his injury. And we need a striker. They're the two key positions I'd go for: striker and left back. It would be nice to have some cover in midfield as well. Like Hayden has with a brilliant season. But striker priority. But with 30 million. I think Mike Ashley will see as well if he still has the club that he's to keep his asset as valuable as it is today. He might have to put a bit more in.
Martin, Ryan Fraser is mentioned as well. I mean, it seems to be all Bournemouth players were linked with. Someone made a point on the show a couple of weeks back that we're targeting players from a relegated club. Is that a wise move? What's your take on that? And would you have Ryan Fraser?
I'd take him. I think for me, I think there's a couple of things, Steve. I think that we're lacking. I think certainly the back end of the season when Lascelles was out, we're just missing a natural leader. For me, we're missing a leader on the pitch. When things get tough, there didn't seem to be anybody when he's not there that's kind of dragging the rest of the players by the shirts and telling them to pull the socks up and come on, lads. And I think we let so many games slip away where we'd either taken the lead or we're conceding at the back end. I just don't know where to start with it. I think we're missing. You look at some of the other sides. I think that the teams coming up from the Championship are going to spend. I think like Daz said and Dave, we were so lucky this year that there was, unfortunately or fortunately for some, that there were teams worse than us this year round. Yeah. But, for me, it's whether it's Bruce, whether it's whoever. For me, it's down to the statistics, and the numbers don't lie. Out of the last 17, 18 games, we got 2 wins. And it's, Bruce puts the detail out there. If there is a plan or a plan B, sometimes it doesn't look like he does have one. But it's up to the players then once they're on that pitch. And there was a lot of lads for me, the likes of Shaw and some others, the back end of this season didn't look like they were bothered. And that for me is a worry going into this season.
Yeah, massive worry. Lots of comments coming in. Keep them coming in, guys. Al-Walid, just somebody wanting to know who your co-host is on your show.
He's another Saudi Geordie guy.
Another Saudi Geordie guy. Anyone who hasn't been on the LW Newcastle on Twitter, get yourself on. There's a great video on there which the lads had a lot of fun doing, where they're attempting a few Geordie phrases. So it's definitely well worth a watch. Chris, back to you, mate. Another point that you really wanted to bring up. You did send us a slide, struggling to load it. So if you want to give us a quick rundown on what else you wanted to talk about.
All right, so I just wanted to just quickly go through the stakes, even with Boris Johnson entering the fray. Obviously, he didn't say pass the deal, but he's urged the ombudsman to make a statement to encourage Richard Masters to speak. So here's the deal from Boris Johnson's perspective. He's looking at what did the Saudis bring into the UK and what did the Qataris bring in? From a regional perspective, Saudi Arabia is the UK's largest trading partner in the Middle East. It's about $6 billion in annual exports. The UK has more than 200 joint ventures worth about $15 billion. There was, of course, the notorious infamous Al Yamama arms deal back in Thatcher's day, where BAE has got $43 billion in arms revenues since 1985. Saudi Arabia purchased in 2014 72 Typhoon fighter jets from the UK for $5 billion. And currently 30,000 British nationals live and work in Saudi Arabia, and 100,000 Saudi nationals currently live in the UK. On the other side of the, if you want to call this a boxing match, in the other corner, we've got Qatar, and the UK Qatar do $5 billion annually in trade. Qatar currently provides 20 to 30% of the UK gas imports, so a sizable stake there. The Qataris have the largest military base in the Middle East, hosting foreign air forces. The U.S. has the largest share at the Al Udeid Air Force Base, but also hosts the UK's RAF Al Udeid squadron there, along with Australia. Qatar has ordered 24 Typhoon fighter jets from Britain for $2 billion. And it's been said that, sort of joke, that the Qataris own more of London than the Queen. The Qataris own Harrods. They own Grosvenor Square, which is the former site of the former U.S. Embassy. They have shares, of course, in Barclays, Heathrow, the Shard, Canary Wharf, and Sainsbury's. And then there's a long-standing military history between the Qatari royal family and the UK. The current emir, Sheikh Tamim, his brothers, and his father, who he replaced, Sheikh Hamad, all of them attended the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst. So from Boris Johnson's perspective, he's wanting to placate both allies and key trading partners in the Middle East. So it's sort of a Gordian knot he has to untie, and he may sort of tip his hand a little bit towards the Saudis for the larger shares of business and trade they bring into the UK. But certainly the Qataris beyond BN, who we've heard about, there's a lot more than BN and Al Jazeera that Qatar is invested in the UK.
Okay, cheers for that, Chris. It makes it a little bit clearer, but yeah, it's a game of politics. That's what it is. There's no doubt about that. Dave G, we're coming back to you. I've been asking this over the last couple of days since these were put out there. This is allegedly the new second and third choice strip. So going to go round the board and see what people think about these. First of all, this is your new second choice strip. And this is your third choice strip. Of course, the third one, as we know, very rarely gets worn, only on special occasions, although I'm struggling to think of a special occasion that you could wear that on. But Dave, do you want to give us your views, please, on these two beauties?
Yeah, sure. Have to say, like the yellow one, it does remind me of the kind of Chelsea away kit a few years back. Not really a fan. To me, like the Puma designs, I'm not a fan of them. You know, I prefer the old Adidas or the old ASIC retro ones. I'm not a fan of the Puma kits anyway. But look, you know what? I mean, it's bright yellow, so I'm sure if in a dark grey Newcastle, you know, it'll be okay to see the strip, I guess. But obviously, it's an away kit, so you're not going to see it at St James's. But I'm just not keen on them, to be honest with you. They just look cheap. And the third one as well, the purple and the black. Like I don't even know what's going on there. It's like some kind of purple leopardy. It just like looks. I can't even put it into words.
Yeah, it's Daz. Will you be hanging one of those behind you on a future podcast? Do you think?
No, I haven't bought a jersey for a while. I don't like the Puma kits. I definitely don't like the yellow. Actually, I'd rather the purple than the yellow. But
really?
yeah, but no, I'm waiting on this takeover to go through, and then I'll restack my kit collection. But no, I like. I'd rather the Newcastle Blue Star. If Lee Clark can send us out one,
Yeah,
we'd love that. The Nike, I like that. Say the truth, but I'm waiting for the takeover, a new sponsor, a new kit manufacturer, and a whole new set of dreams.
Go on, Martin. What's your views on these beauties?
Yeah, no, neither for me, thanks. I think the yellow one. If you squint your eyes, Steve, maybe you could imagine Liam O'Brien and that putting the ball over the Mackham's wall. But
yeah, I was thinking that.
The other one looks like it was plain blue, but then somebody ran a 40-foot truck over it, and the tire. So not sure about that. Much like Daz, I've not bought any of the kind of newer ones. I tend to go retro. So for me, it's the 95, 96. Yep, exactly like Dave there. So most of mine are retro, and similar to Daz there, I actually just ordered the Blue Star one the other day, so I'll wear that this season. But yeah, no, I'll not be buying any, I don't think, at the moment.
Very smart marketing move by Mr. Clark in his first couple of weeks in the job to get these strips out as if they're Newcastle strips. He's over. I mean, it was last week. It was over 500, and I've seen a lot more people commenting about it on social media. So, Al Walid, you're obviously a man of fashion, because this, as I say, this is the first time we've seen you derobed, if you like. You're rocking the Miami Vice look. I think me and Chris have both agreed. You're looking very Don Johnson from the Miami Vice days with your white jacket on, etc. But would you walk down the streets of Saudi Arabia wearing this or this?
For me, I don't mind, yani. But I like the classic one with the Blue Star.
Yeah.
Actually, I just ordered a shirt, and I will receive it hopefully tomorrow. I think the new one with the Fun 88. I think.
Okay.
The classic one.
Yeah. Yeah, the classic one. The
but
black and white one.
As a design, I like the one with all the stars.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, I think most of us probably agree on that. Chris, I know you're a man of football tops. Again, same question. You know these tops. I mean, they're cheap, aren't they? The Puma is supposedly a classy brand, but the tops aren't what they used to be. These retro tops that you know the lads are talking about that I've had over the years, they were classic. The Grandad collar, the one that Daz has got hanging up behind him. They just, you know, they don't make them the same anymore, do they?
No, I have some of the classic kits, like we mentioned, from the brown ale days, 95, 97, 98, 2000. And then I realized that I was in Northern Ireland the day that Newcastle was sold to Mike Ashley on my birthday, May 23rd, 2007, and I had gotten the Northern Rock kit, and then of course Northern Rock went belly up. So we don't have a great history with the sponsors. So I was sort of looking forward to the next kit beyond Fun 88, because that's not something that I would ever use. So hopefully in the post Mike Ashley era, when we get to that, they'll bring in a good kit designer, someone that has some fashion. I also wanted to say about that fizzy yellow. I think it's totally flat, no fizz for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, that's enough. That's enough on the strips. I'm going to move on to the Supporters Trust, guys, because obviously been a lot of talk about the Supporters Trust over the course of this week, especially with the petition, and they had the Zoom chat this week as well. I think from our perspective, I've known about the trust, but since its inception. But let's go around the table again. Daz, first and foremost, Supporters Trust. Are you a member? If you are, when did you join? Why did you join?
Okay. So I've kind of been aware of it and followed it for a while, and I joined a week ago, along with the 3,000 or 4,000 other members, and I attended the meeting this week. So it was great to hear everyone speak, and you got your opportunity to speak as well if you wanted to, and it's great to hear from George and the message that Amanda sent us out, and it wasn't thank you and goodbye, it was thank you and we're still fighting message, in my opinion. And it's the great work that Alex has done, and the whole team, and it's bringing everything together this week. This week has been amazing, really. And I think this week we've done our bit. I'd like to see the government or the buyers or the seller, Mike Ashley, doing their bit, put that bit more pressure this week, and hopefully we can get some kind of a movement from the Premier League and some kind of an answer. But the trust, they're doing brilliant work, and I'm happy to be a member. I encourage everyone else to join as well.
Dave G, same question to you. Newcastle United Supporters Trust, are you a member? If you are, great. Let us know when did you join, and if you're not, what's your views on them?
Okay, so I joined probably last week, to be honest with you. And the reason I joined is because obviously I saw the article in Evening Chronicle, which I'm checking morning and night over here in Australia. And the reason I joined it, I think it's about time, that we do have like a voice, and it is one voice. It's not just different groups. Like, and there's no point having a group that only has 1,000 members and another group that has 2,000. We need to have one voice, one group where we all stand united, really, and we can have that one voice. And to me, I just thought it's worthwhile, and obviously they're speaking to Amanda. They're also voicing their concerns to the Premier League. And I just think it's a really good organisation to get behind for the sake of, I think it cost me £2 for the year. And to me, I just think it's good because I think we all have opinions. We all have different thoughts. And I know individuals have voted to the Premier League. That's not really going to cut it. I just think if that trust can get up to like 50,000, 100,000, obviously the same as the petition that's doing the rounds, if the trust could get that big, then I think that's very, very powerful indeed.
Al-Walid, I know you joined the trust. Why did you join, Al-Walid? Obviously, you're supporting Newcastle now. You're doing your show on LW Newcastle in Saudi Arabia. Why did you join?
Actually, I think the petition, when we all start together to just to reach 100,000 K, I was spending too much time in the Twitter, and I saw a tweet of you that they were talking about the support of the Nest. So I tried to just read about the tweet. So I found the link. I entered, so I was happy to see that, and there was a meeting. Actually, I attended the meeting. I like it in the Zoom, and the guys there, they welcome me. Very thankful for them. I'm proud actually to be a member, and it was kind of funny. I entered late in the meeting because I was trying to register in the event. and I asked a question. I raised my hand for a while for raising a question, and I said the question about. I said, "Isn't weird? The Premier League were silent for the whole week, and on the other side, all partners in the Saudi league says or mentions something on the media. Why the Premier League we didn't hear for the whole week? Why we didn't hear from them?" And Mr. George answered. I said, "That's why we're doing the meeting, actually." So,
Yeah,
I
I
was
did
a
see
little
that.
embarrassed.
It's all right. You're forgiven. You were trying to get into the meeting, mate. But at least, you've joined. You remember that.
Yeah.
That's great. So, Martin, same question to you, mate. Are you a member of the trust?
Yeah, pre-announcement of the takeover, reason really for me was I thought if it was ever going to get to a point that we wanted our friend Mr. Ashley gone, I thought it was the right thing that as Dave stated there, that it was one voice. I think the two I think Zoom calls now I've sat in on, hosted by George, were really, really good. Lots of positives from it, but I think, I think at the minute, whether the takeover happens or not, I think the one thing that we have seen in the last week to 2 weeks is all of the Newcastle fans seem to be coming together and pulling as one, which I think whatever happens in the next couple of weeks with this is what we need.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would agree. I think it's, you got to put your differences to one side. I don't think there's major differences when you see what's going on in the world, and I think a lot of people have actually, agreed on that. So yeah, it's a big couple of weeks coming up, I think, and we'll see how it develops. Chris, Supporters Trust, are you a member?
Yes, I've been a member since the first Zoom town hall, and I actually spoke. I might have been one of the only people that spoke at both Zoom town halls. Who knew we'd have one in April celebrating the takeover, and then have one in August lamenting the sort of demise or sort of suspension of the takeover. I've been a member of. I live in London, so I've been a member of. There's a local Newcastle United supporters club in London, so I've been a member of that since I moved to London in 2015. But it's good that they're we are Newcastle United. We need to be united, and I understand that there's been a lot of sort of hard to get Geordies or supporters to agree on anything in the past. So in unity, we've got strength. So hopefully, I would love to see eventually with the new owners to have a supporters representative on the board. And I think that maybe the trust is the way to get somebody representing the fans onto the board. So we should support that.
Yeah, yep. Fair play to you, mate. Good stuff. Coming down to the last 10 minutes or so of the show, Stephen Parker is asking if the Premier League come out now and approve the deal next week, how quickly could it happen? I also saw a question earlier on, but didn't get to it, was has Mike Ashley kept the 17 million? I think these kind of questions are only questions that either the buyer or the seller can answer. But my understanding would be that if PIF and the consortium have pulled out, then Mike Ashley will now have that money, yes. But I think his statement spoke volumes when he said that never say never, and that his preferred deal was the Saudi deal. And
it's not with him; it's with the club. The club itself, Newcastle United, through Mike Ashley's various holding groups, they have the 17 million. So it's not in Mike Ashley's pocket to be able to invest more money in Hugo Boss.
Yeah, I think getting a couple of questions for you, Al Walid. We'll give this one to you because Mariam's been quite persistent. Who was your favourite player at Newcastle? She asks.
Sure.
For me, for right now, actually, I'm a fan of Shelby.
Okay.
I like his way of playing. Dubravka and Saint Maximin, and Gael also, and Gael.
Yeah. What about
Gael.
in history? I presume you must have seen Alan Shearer or seen some of his goals on the internet over the years.
Of course, yeah, Alan Shearer. Yeah, as I said, he was. I watched Newcastle a long time in Champions League 2002, and I remember he played very good against Juventus. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, lads, we're coming down to the last 5 minutes. I usually give this over to you guys just to, if you've got anything to promote. I mean, you might have a fans organisation. You just might want to promote your Twitter to get a few more followers. So, Alwaleed, I think we all know yours is, at LW Newcastle. I think you've become well known to the Newcastle fans. But have you got anything to say, mate, to the Newcastle fans watching this podcast today?
This question for me? Or?
Yes, for you, Alwaleed, yeah.
Actually, I like the question they asked me, but just I want to comment about why there are no subtitle in the show. Because we are doing the show live, but we try to try the answer at the end of the show in English, and we try to highlight the best part to translate it in English later.
Yeah, okay, that's great stuff, mate. Daz, over to you, mate. Anything you want to promote, etc.?
No, nothing to promote. Apart from the west of Ireland, when the virus is gone, come visit us. Maybe a shout out to my wife, who we're going to be 10 years married on the 20th of August, and my little boy Luca, who loves football. Apart from that, shout out to the trust and come join.
Good stuff, mate. Congratulations on that, mate, as well. And yeah, it's great as well. Hope the Ben is a Newcastle fan as well.
He will be.
Good stuff. Dave, over to you, mate, in Australia.
Yeah, I suppose in terms of shout outs, I haven't really got too many. I think I'll probably just encourage all the fans who haven't yet joined the trust to join the trust. Because I think, if we can all unite, I think that'd be really, really powerful. And just keep believing, I know it's been hard during the Mike Ashley years, and I've certainly switched off on many occasions, just been too much. But I've just got to keep believing,
Yeah, good stuff. Chris, anything from you, mate?
Well, I anticipated this question, and knowing that people couldn't spell my last name if I said it, I put my Twitter and Instagram handle here so people can give me a follow. And I said this for the end, but since there's so many Irish representatives on here, I also would like to reveal myself as another Irish representative. My father's Greek, but my mother's Irish. So I think this is our strongest Irish contingent on the show so far. And I don't know how to say "Hallway the lads" in Gaelic, but I'm sure it sounds great. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be on the show. I hope I can shed some light on sort of what's going on behind the scenes in the Middle East. And as an American, you'll see my feed as a lot of politics and international relations. So I don't treat all about Newcastle, but that's my passion. And so you're going to see Newcastle content as well as a lot of international stuff.
Chris, it's always good to get you on because you know your stuff, and it can be quite there can be contentious issues which Alwaleed, obviously as a citizen of Saudi Arabia, it has to avoid. So from our perspective, it's good to have you on to give that output. So thanks for that, Martin. Last but by no means least, mate, over to you. Anything you want to promote or anything you want to say?
No, nothing to promote. Much like the other lads, I think the Twitter, I follow more things just mainly for the sense of humor on it. I think the last few weeks, despite the takeover blues, if you want to call them that, I think some of the comedy one-liners on Twitter that have gone back and forth have been really good to watch and can lift the mood at times. But I think similar to yourself, Steve, I took a bit of a break away from it last week, kind of focused on some other things. Back on it this week, couple of little bits. I'll probably keep the lay low on Tuesday. It's my birthday Tuesday. I'm 50. So
you're looking good, son. Happy birthday.
So had an easy paper round, Steve. I'm hoping if they do want to sort the takeout, Tuesday will be perfect. That before I get to the other 50, I might actually see us win something. So yeah, no, but look, same thing. Thanks for having me on. Been really good.
honestly, lads, it's all about you guys, and it's great to have you. Great to have you on. Great to have different people on, and the people who watch as well. They enjoy it. Jason's just summing up what everyone's saying. Love these shows. You created a little community, which is nice. Yeah, we've got a good bunch of people. We've got some regular viewers, but I like to have different guests on. So thanks for coming on, lads, and we'll keep in touch. And as time goes on and the season goes on, it'd be great to get you back on in due course. Thanks for coming on. Tomorrow night, of course, we'll have our regular slot with the girls. It's ladies' night at 7:30 until 9:30. So we've got Sav and the rest of the girls all to give their views on the week's events. But lads, as I said, been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming on, and take care. Have a good week, and hopefully the next time we speak, the takeover will be complete. But for now, cheers. Thanks, lads.
Cheers, lads.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, guys.